Mr. Crazyhands is a lengthy horror level designed in an artistic style. The level has a consistent theme and is perfectly synchronized with the music. It also features several mini boss battles, but its attacks don't offer much variety. The level begins with a short animation, an opening door, and glowing red eyes behind it. The animation is thematically accompanied by the creaking of the door at the very beginning of the soundtrack. 0 to 5%. The first part of the level begins with simple alternating cube and mini robot sections where you need to jump on wooden poles and platforms. A wall clock is visible in the background, and later the shadow of a clawed hand appears. The obstacles here include spikes and large saw blades. There are also portals of size and gravity, trampolines, and spheres, each of which must be clicked. 6 to 12%. The game mode then switches to a ball where you must dart between the platforms and pillars by clicking on the spheres. Next comes a spider mode where you must navigate in a maze, clicking finally clicking on the blue sphere and holding the green arrow. A television with white noise is visible in the background during this part. And at the end, silhouettes of hands and a face appear on the screen. 12 to 14%. The drop begins to build up, the music slows down. Now you need to navigate the ship section, or the rocket ship section, while inside the monster. It will feature gravity and size portals. Some of the flesh chunks will have spikes, eyes, or mouths. 14 to 31%. The words, "Have you ever been in the scream room? It melts your mind," appear on the black background with eyes and does a voice on the soundtrack. After the question, the eyes begin to turn red and the pupils roll upward. A drop begins. The first mini boss appears. Its attacks are easy to dodge. The boss itself is a red humanoid creature with very long limbs tipped with saws. The limbs will appear on the right and left sides of the screen at the end. Two large saws will appear from below and above. The boss will then disappear, but its limbs still remain, trying to get us in the next stage. Straight fly on a rocket ship. Then follow a light ball and cube, both with spheres. The cube rising toward the exit is thrown aside by a hand at the last moment, and we're back in rocket ship. And we're back in a rocket ship mode. Facing the first mini boss, he uses the same attacks, after which a multitude of eyes will appear on a black background and roll back. As the eyes roll, blood will start to flow. This is followed by a quick mini cube, and in the background, a man can be seen running away from saws. In the mini cube itself, in the background, in the mini cube, this is followed by a quick mini cube, and in the background, a man can be seen running away from saws. In the mini cube itself, you need to jump over the spikes by pressing the orbs. This section is done in white tones. A face appears resembling the composer's ex-Truller painted face, speaking a phrase from the soundtrack. It remains on screen for a while, periodically changing in time with the music. Its pupils and mouth will dilate. The section begins with a rocket ship. You need to fly between several gravity portals and hold the purple arrow. Then you need to dart between platforms on a ball. Click on one of the red spheres and hold the green arrow. This is followed by several jumps onto a UFO and a transition cube. Then comes a mini wave between spiked platforms, at the end of which you need to hold the green arrow. Next comes a robot with 3 jumps, 2 gravity portals, and a green arrow held at the end. Immediately after touching it, it will transform into a cube. During the hold, a huge skeleton skull with glowing eyes and an opening jaw will appear in the background. Next, you will need to jump in the cube along the poles and hold the green arrow at the end. Next comes a cube where you need to hold the purple arrow at the end. By a mini cube with several spheres, the background will feature suspended skeletons whose eyes have periodically bulged in time with the music. Next comes a spider, where you need to click on the black spheres, teleporting between the poles onto yellow trampolines on them. At the end, you will need to click on a yellow sphere. A huge eye will appear on the red one. Then the background will turn white again. It all starts with a mini ball. When you toss it between the poles, click on the spheres and hold the green arrow at the end. Next comes a cube, where you click on the blue spheres on the poles and hold the purple arrow at the end. At the end of the section, numerous teeth will appear in the background. The drop ends. The music fades out. A very simple rocket ship sequence begins, in which the character flies through a tunnel, changing size several times. The scenery, floor, ceiling, and background in this sequence consists of numerous identical clock faces. The music speeds up again. After the transition, there's a cube with jumps over spikes and 2 blue spheres. Then a wave between spiked pillars, a spider, and a robot with a green arrow. Next comes another light rocket ship with a gravity switch. The background in this section is an abandoned brick with rain falling outside the window. The bricks are blue-purple. At the end, eyes appear in the window. The music gets even quieter, and the pre-drop begins. You don't need to do anything in this part. The cube will be on a platform, surrounded by a multitude of moving eyes on a black background. At the end, all the eyes disappear, and a huge white hand with eyes, different ones, appears. Less than a second into the sequence, a picture appears. A candle, the same mini boss with a huge head with an eye on a red background, which then turns black. Another battle with the same mini boss begins, only this time he's not in the background, but in front. The mode is a rocket ship. His saw-bladed limbs will appear from above and below. Next comes a relatively short wave section, in which only a huge black hand will appear from below. Then comes a transitional mini-cube descending steps. Against a black background, there will be a bloody face removing a mask. See the composer's extruder. Then comes a rocket ship. in which you need to fly between huge moving mouths with teeth, after which comes a ball with a blue gravity portal and a green sphere. Next comes a cube, in which you need to jump and press all the spheres in turn: yellow, green, black, red, and the trigger sphere. Pressing the trigger sphere will destroy the red wall. Beginning the rocket ship section, on the rocket ship, you must defeat the same mini-boss. This time, his head will be sticking out from the top, and his saw-bladed limbs will appear from above, below, left, and right, sometimes reaching as far as the middle of the screen. At the end, a flashing black exclamation mark appears. The limbs begin to converge simultaneously, and a flash of light occurs, and the mini boss disappears. An animation appears against a black background. A white stickman falls in the mouth of a red monster, which then closes. Next, you'll need to jump and press 2 green spheres on the cube. Perform several teleportations on the spider while clicking the yellow, green, and blue spheres, and also jump on the upside down robot. Press the green sphere, then fly through the gravity portal and perform a similar jump. A face resembling the composer's X-Truler appears, speaking in time to the soundtrack. Now comes a rocket ship, which you must fly between the spikes, passing through gravity portals and holding the purple arrow on it. Next comes a cube, with a jump, clicking on 2 green spheres and holding the green arrow, followed by a light spider. The background is an apartment or the inside of a house, with white walls and a black window. Obstacles here are white wooden structures with white spikes. The shadow of a creature appears in the background twice. Then comes a split mini cube, jumping on yellow blocks on a black background with a flashing yellow light. The light will smoothly transition from yellow to red. Now we are back to the same set as the beginning of the section, except the background, while also white, is different. Instead of walls, there's a huge gray head whose pupils and mouth will eventually start to glitch in time to the music. First, you need to jump on a UFO while holding the green arrow, and then ride a wave through a straight spiked tunnel. A white head appears in the background, talking in time to the music. It turns out to be a talking doll on the hand of the mini boss. The set now consists of a white background with a huge black eye in the middle and gray jaws that you need to climb over. First comes a robot. You need to jump on it. Click 2 red orbs and the green arrow. Next comes a ball. Clicking on a green orb while holding the purple arrow. Followed by a cube, which requires only clicking all orbs in a row: blue, yellow, green, and red. Next comes the spider with a red sphere at the end. Now the background changes to the same apartment, only now there's a white door instead of a window. You first need to click on the green and 2 yellow spheres, and also hold the green arrow on the cube, then jump at its end. The door will open, revealing a white gap, and the room will begin to tilt. At the end of the section, you need to jump onto the UFO, go through the yellow gravity portal, and make another jump, then holding the purple arrow. While holding it, the gap will begin to fill another jump, the entire room, and the spiky floor and ceiling will begin to shrink. The drop ends and the soundtrack fades out. The final part of the level, in an apartment with blue wallpaper and several wooden doors. You need to navigate the cube across wooden structures with spikes to the exit, jumping and tapping on the blue and yellow spheres. At the end, all you have to do is hold on the green arrow and the background will turn white. After the gameplay ends, the level ends with an animation similar to the one at the beginning, with the same red eyes in the doorway. The only difference is that the door closes, judging by the wallpaper and the placement of the cross-shaped scratches on it, as well as the incredible similarity between the first and last gameplay sequences. The character exited through the same door they entered. Then the ending screen appears, showing us the mini-boss for the last time, and level completed! This level has bugs. The bugs are at 77%. After the gravity transitions back to normal, you can time it and fly under the hitboxes. Perhaps this is a bug, not two bugs. Anyways, perhaps the creator didn't polish the level properly, which is why there are so many such flybys. But in most cases, you'll simply die.